Hello, everyone, and welcome to party time. So, as you can see from the screen, we're trying to celebrate the end of the year. We want to talk about the exciting things that are going on. And of course, we're coming up in the spring, and spring always means SOL time. So, let's talk SOLs real quickly. I just want to give you some quick information, then we'll meet together soon. So the first thing is important dates that I need you to remember. First of all, our SOL testing will begin on April the 26th. That's the first day that we can test, and we will start testing on that day, obviously, in order to get all of our special ed and our one-to-one testings completed. We'll have to start on that day. We, as teachers, will have a meeting together on Thursday, April the 8th at 3:30 in the little theater. That's going to be an in-person meeting, first one in a long time. There's plenty of room to social distance in there. Obviously, everybody will wear their mask and those types of things, but I just think we need to have a conversation in person about some decisions we need to make regarding our SOL testing. Becky McKinney will then have her training on April the 8th, and then after that, your training will occur. And I have asked if we can do virtual training. In other words, maybe have Becky record her training, similar to what I'm doing right now, and pass that out to everyone. You would still have to sign saying that you have watched the training, have been trained, and that you understand all of the things that go with it. Now, I don't know if they're going to allow us to do that. I've asked for it. If not, we'll be trying to set up some in-person trainings at a couple of times so that it will work out with everybody's schedule. But you know how that goes. We'll do the best we can with it. Hopefully, they'll allow us to do virtual this year. Our schedules of testing days have already been decided for us. Those are in your box. So you can take a look at those when you return, whenever you listen to this video, but that will be in your boxes. Those are division wide. And the reason for that is has a lot to do with the fact that we have virtual testing that are remote, what they're calling remote testing, that can go on. And those have to happen all at the same time across the division in order for Judy to monitor everyone who's taking them. And we do want Judy to monitor them. Otherwise, we have to monitor our students taking those tests at whenever they determine that they want to take it. So instead, we are assigning dates and times to them, or dates to them, so that those can be taken at the same time, and Judy can monitor them in case they get kicked out or something like that. So your schedule or your calendar of when SOL tests will occur is in your box. The SPED scheduling can begin before that. Obviously, she's not doing all the small groups and the one-to-one scheduling, but the overall large group testing schedule is in your boxes. We plan to finish all of our tests by May 21st. That's a lofty goal, I know, but because we will not be doing expedited retakes, I think it's a doable goal. That would be the Friday before the last week of school, and it gives us a whole week of school where we can, what I'm hoping to do is just shut off the screens, not be doing anything virtually, and engage in some activities before we send our kids home for the summer. Wednesdays are going to be used for our virtual students to come into the building for testing. So in other words, for example, the first week of testing, Virginia Studies is on April 27th. The fifth grade reading is on April 29th. That's a Tuesday and a Thursday. On Wednesday, the day in between them, we will offer to bring in all of our virtual students who take Virginia Studies and fifth grade reading and have them take their test on Wednesday in the building, which is going to mean Virginia Studies and fifth grade reading teachers will need to be in the building on that day so that we can administer them. But if they take an in-person test, they get the CAT test, and they're actually, it won't happen for Virginia Studies because it will, because it's only in-person test, but there's no remote test for Virginia Studies. But that way we can have Wednesdays that the parents can feel safe knowing that it's not a whole school full of people coming in, and we'll still separate them, like they won't be together. Fifth grade reading will be in one place and Virginia Studies in the other. But so whatever two tests were given on Tuesday and Thursday, Wednesday of that week will be the opportunity for our virtual students to come in and take their test. Now, if a parent chooses for them to not come into the building to do it, they have the option of remote testing. We hope that most of our parents will bring their students in, because the validity of a remote test obviously is not going to be good, and it's not going to count, so it doesn't matter. But all of those things, it's my job to get that word out to the parents in a way that's going to encourage them to bring their students in. So don't share information with parents yet until you see what I send out, and then you can kind of follow suit with that. We will have to obviously plan to be in the building on Wednesdays, just on the days when your tests are given. And we'll just proctor for each other, and hopefully that will take care of it for us. You are going to want to make sure that you check the Google Calendar, or MES Google Calendar. I have added the SOL test dates there. I've also published those dates on our website. So you're going to want to make sure that you are checking those regularly. If things change, I'll change them on there as well. So some really important information: Virginia Studies test will be given in person only. There is no remote test for that. There's just not a lot of options for that particular test. So they have to come in to take that test if they're going to take it. All others, can have the option, the math and reading, and actually fifth grade science can all have the option of doing a remote test where they do it at home, but they still have to take it on these days that we have them assigned. And again, that's so that Judy can monitor them and help with any issues that they might have. All of our scores are waived this year. In other words, we will get scores, but it will not count against our accreditation or any of our federal monitoring or any of that. However, those scores will be used for growth models for the following year. So we definitely, obviously, always want to have our game face on and be doing the very best that we can do, and encourage our students to do the very best that we can do. Because still, you're going to get those scores with your names on them. So we want what's best, but we also want to make sure that we're going into it with the perspective that we know it's been an unusual year. And while these scores don't count, we will have them attached to us. So that's always important for us. All of our tests are going to be in one day. We're not doing any 2-day tests, dividing it apart. So, if we need to schedule breaks in, we'll definitely get that done in order to give them that time to break. But we're going to do everything in one day. All the remote tests will be given on the dates that are on the schedule. No expedited retakes will be given in 3rd through 8th this year, and that's not our rule. That came down from the state. The remote tests that are given are not going to be the computer adaptive test. These are the older versions of the tests. And then no remote testing will be allowed in the evenings or on the weekends. In case parents ask, they have to be given during the school day times. Our virtual students who do not participate count as refusals, which, it does count against us. But again, those scores are not going to be counted for our accreditation this year. So we'll just take it on the chin and move on. So information to discuss prior to our grade level meeting. We are having that grade level meeting, as I said, on Thursday the 8th. So before that meeting, as a team, you need to discuss by grade level who, if anyone, needs to have small group testing. Now, that doesn't include our IEP students. Obviously, we know who of those need to have small groups or one-to-ones or read alouds and all that. So taking them out of the mix with those students who remain in your general ed population, do you have students who need small groups and anything extra that might need to be used, keeping in mind that we have limited time and resources this year. The other thing you need to consider is your preference for the testing environment. We are one-to-one, so at this point we have the option of just taking them in our classrooms using our Chromebooks. We will be using our Chromebooks. That's the only way we can do it. But, pardon me, but we do have the other option of going to the computer lab. And I know some people have said in the past that they prefer to be in the lab because it makes it feel a little more formal. We can set up labs other places on the stage, in Miss McKinney's room, other places like that, so that it's not in the classroom, but they would still bring their Chromebooks with them and use their Chromebooks to to take the test. So you need to, but that has to be decided as a grade level. So as a grade level, you all need to talk to each other and determine what you feel like would be best for your students for the testing environment. The other thing is if you have any questions regarding how we're going to do testing, have those written down so you're ready to ask them when we come in. And then what are we going to do about practice tests and practice environments and different things like that, and at what point and how do we want to do that? Fourth grade, you are in an unusual situation where, always in the past, your students have had a year of testing under their belts, and you have not had to do as much preparation in the actual taking of the test as much as you have the content. But this year, obviously, those students have never taken an SOL test. So you have the same responsibility that third grade teachers now have to ensure that your students know how to take an SOL test. So definitely get on TestNav, get the practice test pulled up. There's a great walkthrough test that's more about procedurally taking the test than it is about content. And all those things are found on the DOE's website. But talk to each other about that, determine when and how you're going to do those practices. And if you're not sure, ask me so that I can help you make sure that we're doing that. But all of our students need to have practiced going in, taking the SOL test, even fifth graders, because they didn't do it last year. So it's been 2 years since they did it. So we definitely need to be in there practicing using those practice tests and that TestNav website to run through some things, even if it's just the procedural things about how to get in and how to use the tools and those types of things. So again, if you're not sure where those are or what I'm talking about, ask me or ask someone and make sure that you get in there and use those. All right, so that concludes this presentation. Just wanted you to kind of know where we all are on some things, and that we will be meeting on the 8th in person. But before the 8th, please sit with your team, have conversations about what your expectations are, what you feel like is going to be best for your students, and let's come prepared to that so that it'll be a quick and easy meeting. Thanks, and I'll see you guys soon.